Welcome to SDL City Showdown. I'm AJ and I'm joined with Steve today. Unfortunately, Andre could not join us today, but he wishes you guys the best.
You know what? Is this enough of this? Let's dance. We haven't won since the Ides of March. Let's just take it in. I'm dancing.
Dance party. Old guy dance.
Damn, that felt good. I forgot. I didn't even know this team could win. I didn't think we were allowed to win. I thought we were required to lose or draw. Mostly lose. But you know what? The fact that we can win feels good. Feels good.
You know the fan base has got to be super excited right now. You could just see it on Reddit and social media. Uh-oh. He's pulling out the board right now. It says weeks without a win. And we had gotten up to, what was it, 11?
11.
And he's rating a 0. So this is, if you guys are listening just on audio only, this is kind of like where you see like how many days since the last accident, like at work, and then they have the number. Oh, he even put a little smiley face in it.
Oh my!
Awesome.
That it got close though, didn't it? It felt like when they came back and tied, you're like, there we go. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Oh, man. That leads us perfectly into our first game today, which is 3 words. Steve, I know you're chomping at the bit. I know you are.
Yep.
Let's hear your 3 words. I am dying to hear this.
So my 3 words are going to be formation, goals, and luck. So the formation, we came out, and according to FOTMOP, it was going to be this weird formation, but I went ahead and I definitely watched the beginning of the match, and we came out with a 4-2-3-1. And it was like, that's a thing we can still do. I didn't think we could do that anymore. And just like with wins. And I looked, that was the first time this entire season we've used that formation. And it looked pretty good throughout the first half of this match. And while we didn't have a lot of success, like it looked like the team was actually keeping their shape. It looked like it was difficult for the Earthquake to get comfortable. And we looked like we were passing forward. It actually did look like we were pressing. So like the formation is what I noticed at first. It actually didn't look, it wasn't a boring match. And I think that's what Lutz and Diego were really looking for. What's this, Chris Lee? What's our new coach's name?
Critchley.
Critchley. All right. Yeah. He's an Irish sounding guy. It's a wild name, but like we've had so many coaches. I'm like, who is our coach now? And you have to keep a Rolodex going here. Kids, that's where people used to keep business names on. All right. And what's your first word?
Well, my first word has got to be, with an exclamation point, is press.
Yes.
So much more fun watching the press.
I mean, it's
so much more fun.
It's more fun than watching the bus be parked before it even got a chance to leave the station.
Yes, so much better. I mean, here's the thing, right? Even if we had lost, at least it was a much more enjoyable game. Like it's, at least you have some fight in you. It's almost like a boxing match where you're like the guy you're rooting for is just sitting there, covering their face with their gloves and just sitting there and just taking all the punches. Literally, that's what this was all season. At least you're throwing some punches. If we lost, I get it. It sucks. We're tired of losing, and that's a whole different debate. But at least they had some fight in them.
Right.
And at least we had some shots on goals. I think we had like 5 on target, something like that.
Yeah.
Like so much better. So yeah, that's why my first word was
press. So one thing that I want to say is, I don't know if everyone got a chance to watch the presser that Lutz, Diego, and Critchley did midweek. I was outside working on this rabbit hutch pin that I built, and I listened to it. And one thing that they were asked about Olaf and his style was like, was he going to do his own style? And Lutz and Diego both said in their interview process, they made it clear that the coach needed to come in and do the high press. Whatever coach they're replacing needed to use that system. And according to them, Olaf said he would. And they said immediately after the first match, they're like, that is not at all what we discussed. But it wasn't horrible. The first 3 games of the season, they were letting him cook because it wasn't horrible, even though he lied in his interview and said he would use the high press and he wasn't. And that's why whenever they talk about It wasn't just the performance on the field. That's what they were talking about. They were talking about the fact that he was supposed to come in and use that high press, and he never did. And as soon as it fell off the rails, I think that's why we saw this decision be made so fast, was because he just lied. It sounds like the dude just lied, and he wasn't comfortable using the high press. But it's almost like, okay, I was in my former life, I was an auto body technician. I actually went to school. I was a good auto body technician. I got a job at a shop who they wanted me to use the frame rack, actually pulling frames. And I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing with that. I had no idea. And I just needed a job. And my very first job they gave me was, guess what? We've got this car with a really bad crash. Go ahead and straighten it out on the frame rack. I was lost. I worked on that car for like 3 days, never got it back into shape, and they had to come in and save me. That was Olaf. Olaf ruined what was happening, and he had to be saved, and he had to get fired. I eventually quit that job. They wouldn't fire me, but like, it sounds like he had no idea what the hell he was doing with this press system. So I just wanted to throw that in case anyone was wondering about that.
So I'm a small business owner. I got a small medical practice, and I've had to hire people, me and my partner. And unfortunately, we've had to fire people too because they stole from us and stuff like that. It really stinks. Okay. To some extent, I have some sympathy for Lutz. I don't really care for Diego, but I do have some sympathy because I know that unfortunately, you could be the best sporting director, the best owner, the best manager hiring, and sometimes you just get burned. It stinks. And I to some extent, I feel like that's what happened with Lutz. And what's actually surprising, the fact that they came out publicly and said, hey, we want to do the press and you didn't do that. Like, this is public. Usually they don't say these things. I really don't think that Lutz actually cared for Olaf. I mean, Steve, check this out. I looked up the shortest MLS coach tenure. And what I found is based on MLS games, the shortest was 9 games. That I can't think of his name, but he basically came in as coach sometime, I think it was in August, and then they didn't renew his contract at the end of the season. So it wasn't like a mid-season firing or anything. They just didn't renew it. In this case, what did we have? I think it was 14 games. Was it 14? Yeah, 14 games that we fired Olaf. This is literally, check this out. This is one of the shortest MLS coaching tenures. Holy moly. That tells you how frustrated that they were as well.
Sure.
And the thing is I know, and Steve, you probably would agree with me, sometimes, as hard as it is, you have to, put yourself in Lutz and Diego's shoes. You have to sit back and say, well, there's a chance that they could turn it around. There's a chance they could turn around. If you're too quick with firing, because you have to look at all possibilities. You can't just be knee-jerk reaction. You have to say, well, if I fire people too quickly, who's going to want to come here that's a decent coach, because they know that they could just get fired after a few weeks. So they have to balance this stuff. The fact that they fired somebody this quickly, wow, they must have really not liked them.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't shocked whenever they said like we had to get rid of him, but like the fact that he was supposed to come in and do this and he said he would and he didn't. I mean, damn. And plus, let's be honest, it's costing the team money. You know, this is now, they had their first non-sellout for an MLS game, and it was looking like more was coming, I'm sure. Prices on SeatGeek were way down. I'm sure interest on the team app was been way down. They track all this. They're a very, very forward-thinking team, and they could see the trends happening. So they had to cut. And like they kept saying he's a nice guy, and that's like the death knell. Once you start talking about a former employee, you're like, yeah, he's a good person. You're like, they didn't like that. They didn't trust that guy. So, and they kept saying, the one thing that kept bugging me was they kept saying the team didn't forget how to score. Like, that is an indictment on the coach. When you keep saying, these guys know how to score, they're just not. And then the very next game, they come out and score 2 goals, which, by the way, new coach bump. I'm not that worried about the goals right now. But, yeah, they're like, it's all on the coach. It's not these players. It's the coach. So.
Yeah. And just to give you my 2 other words that I picked here is the other word I picked is shape, which is kind of like what you said with the formation. If I remember to post this on the video part of the podcast, I might forget. But if you guys look up the passing maps, Steve and I were looking at this pre-production and it's gorgeous. It's like the perfect passing map that you could expect. You see the 4-2-3-1 formation, and what's nice too is that it's very balanced. It's not just all passes to one person. It's pretty spread out, and there's no doubt that the passing went through Leuven. I think he had 80 passes or touches rather, and then the next most common person was Timo, who had 47, which you would expect for some of these center backs. And then the next person I think was Hartel with like 46, but literally Leuven had twice as many as anybody else. So we did run through him, which is okay. A lot of times you do have that, but when you look at this passing network and map, it's very well spread out, just kind of like Berkey's passes. Steve, what did you call his passes? Like when you looked at the picture?
All right, so if y'all have ever played Contra, the NES game, remember that weapon you could get, that one of the best weapons you can get, where it was like a cone-shaped spread and just went everywhere? This is what Berkey's pass distribution looked like. It looked like the spread weapon in Contra. It was just wild.
Did not play that game. I have no clue what you're talking about, but yes.
You got to go.
Dude,
you got to find a retro gaming site now, the Contra Online, and like 12 hours later, you'll text me like, Steve, I can't beat this game. Yeah, no kidding. Don't play Contra 2.
Okay,
Contra 2
Steve.
is worse. Contra.
Okay, what's your favorite game of all time?
Sonic the Hedgehog. It was the first game I actually beat, and I beat it at 2 a.m. when I was like in 4th grade. All time best game ever.
Dude, for me, Mario 3. I had like the book that went along with it, so you can kind of anticipate like what was it, like the treasure chest, and then there was like the cards and all that. Like they had all those listed. That was like the best game I would play. Yeah, best game ever.
One of them, yes, I do love it, but like I always got frustrated with Mario 3. But just so much to do. I love that game, the artistic design of that, but like for me, the gameplay of Sonic on the Sega Genesis was insane. I love it. By the way, I love all the retro shit. I love all the retro stuff, but like for me it's Sonic.
By the way, shout out for GoldenEye. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 64 was cool. GoldenEye was all right. Sorry, guy. But my favorite game on the 64, NWO versus WCW, hands down one of the most exciting wrestling games ever, and one of the best games on the 64. GoldenEye was meh, but like
you can't say
meh.
No.
Yep.
Dude, come on. We're gonna get canceled. Like people are too smart. They know GoldenEye is like literally the best N64 game out there.
We call those people morons. Okay.
Steve, you're
by the way, I'm not saying anything
here.
bad, but if you guys think GoldenEye is the best N64 game, just stop listening. I don't want your clicks.
My God, Steve, you're
nor does AJ. AJ says you're an idiot too. Sorry.
Just because. And oh my gosh, okay. You're killing me here, Steve.
Actually, so probably one of my my cousins with money had like a lot of N60, a lot of Nintendo games, and like one of my greatest memories is going over my cousin Craig's house and playing Skate or Die 2. And there's a half pipe part of the game where the only way you could beat that is if you had a spoon and you rotated the spoon on your NES controller, because you had to rotate so fast a human couldn't do it. And so we figured out you could get a spoon, and we just would just go crazy on the NES controllers and beat that level on the NES. So shout out to Craig letting me play Skate or Die 2 in his house.
Wow. All right, Steve. Back to soccer, I guess.
Yeah.
So my last word was boys. So everybody saw that beautiful pass, that long pass, the Klaus, where he basically did the header around the last defender, basically juked out that defender, got the ball, forced the goalkeeper to make an error, and a beautiful kick in the back of the net. How good did that feel? Amazing. Oh, yeah. And these are our boys who we missed. It felt like our inaugural season all over again.
Yeah. No, it was that was an exciting play. I'll give you that. My last word is luck. The reason why I say luck is we were all set to lose that game, or at least the draw. And Edwards, the goalie for San Jose, he was not good yesterday. Throughout the entire game, he was not good. So I want to see us play against an actual high-quality goalkeeper. Like we in a row, but we got lucky. And Edwards made a boneheaded move in stoppage time to basically make Betcher do a somersault over him and led to a PK, and Leuven got that amazing PK shot and helped us get the win. That was luck. When they went ahead and tied the match, I was like, nope, this is what we do. We don't win matches anymore. But no, it took an idiot as a goalkeeper for us to win that match.
So, okay, Steve. So let's say that didn't happen. And like, let's say Betcher gave it a shot and he hit the frame and it bounced off and we didn't score a goal and we tied. Would you consider that still some kind of like a moral victory or a victory for a team, even if we had tied?
No, there's no moral victories in sports. Not for a team that at that point had lost 11 in a row and 11 of the last 12, not counting that Open Cup match against a third tier team. So I was all ready to say, like, it doesn't matter if we scored a goal. We are still the team that loses, or we're still not great. I don't believe in moral victories. And I guarantee you the team would have come out and said the same thing.
Yeah, are you sure though? Because there's no doubt that our attack was way better. Like to some extent, like in soccer, you have to just put yourself in a position to win. And to some extent, it's like gambling. So the best example I could use is kind of Texas Hold'em. So if anybody's familiar remotely with poker, sometimes like when you're playing a hand, and you have pocket aces, which is the best starting hand. Typically against a random other hand, you win 85% of the time. But the problem is sometimes even if you play it perfectly, you still lose or your opponent draws out. So the same thing here, I felt like we put ourselves in great position. There was a lot of times where we had some good crosses, some good attempts, and sometimes you just don't sink it. And that's why you have to look over the course of the season. To me, I don't think I would have been disappointed. I think I would have been disappointed that we didn't get the win, no doubt. But I would feel like there's at least some kind of quote unquote moral victory there because at least we saw that there was a change. We saw that we were trying something different. And honestly, it was working, right?
Yeah, no, it was. And I'm sure that there are a handful of matches that we can look back at this season where the boys played good, they rallied, and it was an amazing effort, and we still didn't win. And I'm not prepared to go into the rest of the season saying, man, didn't we look great? Did you win? No, but we look great. Well, did you win? No, but we had good passes. Did you win? No, 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 no. We don't need to do that. We drew. No, because you know where we still are?
Okay, so what if this was the first game of the season? Olaf never existed, and Critchley was our coach, or whoever, it doesn't matter, and this game happened. So first game of the season, and you tied. Would you still be like, it was practically a loss? Or would you be like, okay, I'm digging this, it's kind of a win in a way, and how would you feel? Would you feel different?
First game of the season, did we win? Or I'm pretty sure we drew our first game of the season. It was because we drew against San Diego. So I would say there's a brand new start to the season. It was fun. That I still wouldn't feel good because we didn't get the 3 points. But at that point, you don't know anything else. So it's like, the team looked okay. If someone were to ask me, how do you feel after this win, after the draw, I'm like, still a draw. But after only having 2 wins to that point, now, no. Now, the team doesn't get to say, didn't we look good? Sorry, guy. That's just how I take it.
This is Olaf baggage.
Yeah. Well, it could be any baggage. If Hackworth was our coach, if Carnell was still our coach, if anyone is our coach, even if it was a brand new coach, even if it was Chrisley, at this point would still be, no, we don't get a moral victory just because you have to win. Carolyn Kendall came out during the preseason and said, we must get to the playoffs. You can't get to the playoffs if you don't win. So if that is the standard from the majority owner of the team, then that's the standard I feel like we need to go with. And that ain't it.
Okay, so there was something interesting. So we'll kind of head to our goal or no goal segment. There was actually a sighting of a former player. Did you see this, Steve? They actually have a picture to kind of prove it.
Yes,
Gio was actually at the game.
I saw that.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are like, oh, we should re-sign him, or, there's no doubt he has passion for this team. And what do you have, like a 10-goal season? And I think he scored 1 goal in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
What do you think?
About
so
what?
I'll phrase it this way. We should re-sign him. Goal or no goal?
Nope. Can goal. No goal. He is unemployed. He's in his 20s and he's unemployed because he's not good at soccer. No goal. People, this is what happens when you win. When you win, all of a sudden everything sounds like a good idea. We're going to bring back a guy that hasn't played here in 2 seasons because he's hanging out as a spectator. No goal. That's utterly ridiculous. I saw that, and I saw people saying, "Oh, he looked good in this system." Meanwhile, when he was in this system, just like with AZ, when he was in this system, he was the most hated person on the field.
Yep.
And these same jackoffs that are saying he should be on this team were the ones running him out on a rail. So I hate that. I hate how people are recreating their own history all because we won. So now that I had my slightly nuanced approach to that question, what do you think?
I gotta say, a sad no goal. According to Crave Case on Reddit, he says that Gio's contract runs through June 2027. So basically, we would have to buy out a contract that's got 2 more years on it for a player that would be basically unknown. I get it. He had a great season. Things were working. Like, let's be honest, our inaugural season was something magical. Like, we had the same players compared to year 1 and year 2, but for some reason, year 1, especially the first half, just worked. So it'd be tough. Now, I love players who like literally live and breathe our team. Like he when he left, he had a car that basically had City and his current team's decals all over it. Like this is a team he will never forget. He loves this team. He came back here to watch a game. He loves this team. But unfortunately, the thing is we need to win. That's a big thing. Steve, I don't know if you remember one of our first podcasts, I had said it's sad if players leave, but ultimately what I want to see is a winning team. If Berkey decides to leave at the end of the season, I will be sad. However, that being said, I'm okay with it as long as we win. I don't care who the players are. I care more about the team than the individual players. Because that's what the team is. Like we wear these shirts, we do this podcast for the team, not the players.
Right. This is the same kind of philosophy when Parker was traded. You would have thought the team was shutting the doors because a player was no longer on this team. And he's also unemployed. He's also not playing. So like we want to start bringing back all these corpses that were here in 2023 just because it sounds good? No. I saw that and I was like, I bet we're going to talk about that because, and it's all just because we won. If we lost, people will be like, oh, it's the curse of Nico. By the way, his name's Nico. And people, it's the curse of Nico in the stadium. And we have to get him out of here. We lost because of him. Like, all right. On Discord, I couldn't find it yesterday. A commenter, Indiana City fan has a gif of a guy saying, this team will never lose again. Goal or no goal. This team's never going to lose again, AJ. This is the start.
So I sent this message, and I love this phrase in sports, and that's reckless optimism.
Yes. Get you every time.
So I will give a goal to the reckless optimism. However, my logic part of the brain says, okay, come on, like no goal, but we're just going to be reckless here. We're going to be chaotic good here and just go with the goal. Why not?
Right. Yeah. I also like the reckless optimism. I guess it also shows you how young a lot of sports fans are. A lot of these critters haven't gone through mortgage payment. They haven't gone through losing a job. So like, it's fun to be optimistic. It's not fun to be a realist. I mean, like, no, we lost against a faltering San Jose team. And the only reason we won is because of that luck at the end. So I want to see it go us against Portland. I want to see us go. Then if we beat Portland, then it's like run back 2023 at the beginning of the season. Run it back. We're there, baby.
And by the way, you guys probably hear this quite a bit. Like we drop a little hints. We both are DMs. We both play in each other's campaigns. So if you guys still have no clue what we're talking about D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. So we're both like complete geeks. Further, Andre is part of both of our campaigns as well. So we're like hardcore geeking here. So if you hear stuff about D20 and stuff like that, like some of you guys are getting all excited. Some of you guys are like, what's a D20? What, like, is that like 20 goals or something? Yeah, I wish.
No kidding.
Okay, I got one for you.
Nice.
So on Reddit, somebody said, based on, I think it was on Transfer Market or some like reputable site, basically said that all teams in the MLS is going to get a third kit. And supposedly it was going to June 1st, which is today as of this recording, which is Sunday. And they said, hey, what do we think the kit's going to look like if we drop? So Morgryn, so Mogryn on Reddit says, I predict it will have two collars somehow. Goal or no goal. The next person, Large Fisherman, said 8551, said, or one just giant collar. The whole top is nothing but collar. The Gaines UND Games '07 said, it's just a colorful collar, no jersey attached, just a collar.
Just a collar.
Which one's your favorite?
Probably just a collar. Just the collar alone. Just hanging off.
They're
the
not
necks.
wearing like any
Nope.
shirt, just like this, like a bow
Hanging off
tie.
the neck, just flopping around, and they got that sports bra heart monitor underneath. That's it. Just a collar. The curse of the collar is alive.
What if it was attached to the sports bra?
Yeah, I mean, it would be better than what we have. You know, maybe it's more aerodynamic for the
Jeez.
boys.
All right, what do you got?
Oh my gosh. On Discord, Storm Cujo says, I'm prepared to see Berkey go. Goal or no goal. You're beginning to prepare yourself to see Berkey no longer on this team.
Well, I'm glad we had this conversation a second ago that ultimately it's about the team. And there's going to be at some point Berkey's going to go. I'm sorry, guys. At some point it's going to happen. Now, the thing is I want him to want to be here. And then the question is we have Ben Luntz, who's a very, very serviceable backup. In fact, he would be starting for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
The question is Steve, I'm going to turn this back to you and say, would you rather have Berkey, or would you rather have Ben Luntz and have a extra TAM player on the team because of the money you save from Berkey versus Luntz?
Moving into next year, I would rather have Ben Lunt and have that extra TAM player.
This is going to be fun and controversial.
Yes, I would rather have, because Berkey's 34 years old or so. He's great, but this team right now is struggling to score goals, struggling to have a solid game. And yep, his distribution is great, but I feel like Ben can do that as well. So yeah, I do not care if Berkey leaves if we are able to get a better player out of it. There you go.
So I get the asterisk has to be here that if Berkey left and they got Ben Luntz and they took that extra money, they have to spend that additionally. So the thing is we can't see Berkey go and then they just save that money and pocket it. They need to actually spend that on additional to what they would have spent anyways.
Yeah,
now,
that
here's
has to
the
be
thing. It's a market.
Back. Yeah.
It's a marketing disaster, though. Berkey, by far, is the one player everybody in St. Louis knows. So they have to tread carefully here. If they get rid of Berkey, you have to make some decent signings here.
Well, this is why in our private conversations as well, I said we need to bring in someone from overseas that has almost brand name recognition. There has to be some big player, maybe with a single name. I don't know who those players are, but like there has to be someone where if someone that doesn't know soccer hears his name, you're like, I know that guy. You know, where it can't be someone from the Bundesliga too. It has to be someone big. And we can say we got rid of Messi, or we got rid of Berkey, but we're bringing in Holland, something like that. People will be like, holy crap, this is the best thing ever. Berkey, what? You know, by the way, people thought that way about Tim Parker. Tim Parker had a beer named after him. Like Tim Parker was one of the spiritual guidelines of this team. And they cut rope as soon as they could. So it's just a player, guys. Think about how lost we were when Albert Pujols left. People, we thought the Cardinals would just no longer ever be relevant. We moved on. And we're going to move on. And we'll move on with Berkey. But he's still here right now. And that's all I care about. It's just a good hypothetical.
On Reddit, Overton's cat said, seeing the whole team hug the manager makes me think Olaf wasn't liked. Goal or no goal?
They would have hugged this man if we won. They would have hugged Olaf. So no. Also, Critchley is younger, and I don't think Olaf's a hugger. Even though his the character he's stealing the name from Frozen was a hugger. I don't get that. You know, also when they scored, I saw Critchley pump his fist and like scream, and I don't think that's Olaf's style either. So there's different coaches. You know, they have different styles. I don't think it has anything to do with Olaf being liked. I don't remember see Hackworth or Carnell being mugged when they won a match. So it's just different styles. They probably do that in the practice.
Okay, so I got a question for you. Critchley basically was coaching nothing significant until this past year when he started coaching City 2. So he's got no resume. Now, let's pretend we go on a winning streak and we win. How many games do we have left? Like 19, 18, something like that.
Oh, lunch.
And let's say we win. Let's say we win 7 games, like something crazy like that, 7, 8 games, which is a great win rate. Do we have to consider him as head coach, or do we say, hey, it's still too much of a wild card because literally you have 0 resume?
So in the presser where he was introduced, Critchley said he came to Olaf the first day he was hired back in 2021 and said, I want to be the head coach. He actually said, he even said, like, I am an ambitious person. I want to be in this seat. So he is going to be campaigning hard for that. They're not saying that they'll hire him or they won't. They've gone from using the caretaker term only to like, we'll wait and see. So if he can probably coach his way into it. I don't think he can coach his way out of it because right now they're not considering him because he's never been this high. Yeah, he started with the U16, U17 teams for City. Now he got moved up to the City 2 this year because the head coach that we had left, and now he's being forced into, he probably wasn't forced, he was probably asked and he jumped on it to be the main team coach. So we'll see.
So what would you do though? So I'm asking you, would you hire him?
If there is an experienced MLS coach that is not currently working, that wants a job and he's got a strong pedigree and wants to come back, then I would hire him in a heartbeat over Critchley. I want someone with a lot of experience that has won in the past over an unknown, because you could catch lightning in a bottle this year using someone else's players, but it's hard to do it on your own. So yeah, I would look outside first because it's got to be a long term. Let Critchley go back to City 2, do it for 4 seasons, and then see how well we do. Because right now, City 2 is using a lot of the stuff that we had from the previous season. Let's see how well he does with City 2 first. I mean, he's super young. You know, if we can lock him down for 10 years, lock him down. You know, don't give him what he wants just because he's got a little success right now.
Yeah, it's going to be hard because, like, imagine, like, let's say he goes on and he wins. I think I calculated there's 18 games left. Let's say he wins 8 of the next 18, which is crazy. It's going to be really hard with the fan base because they're going to be pushing for him to be hired because that's a pretty good success rate. The other problem, though, is let's say you do hire somebody else and they service us well, maybe not great, not bad, but decent. The hard part is does Critchley get poached somewhere else? Does he get poached to go, at the top USL team? Does he get poached for another starting manager job? That's the other thing too, is like, right, if you pass over these guys and they have success, they could get poached to go somewhere else.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
I got one more from Discord. Zippy Hippie says, severely regretting my decision to watch the UCL final instead of the City game. So, goal or no goal, if you watched the UCL championship, you missed out on a great game here. Especially if you were a Inter fan.
Oh yeah, they got crushed. What was it, 5-0?
5-0.
Yeah, it's tough. So my uncle's a big EPL fan. His team was Arsenal way before Kroenke bought the team and stuff like that. Like since he was a kid, which was like 100 years ago. And he was like, okay, MLS is a stupid organization because why would you place a game during this Champions League final? Like, how stupid are you? And I was like kind of debating back and forth. I was like, well, a lot of people aren't watching it. They don't even know it exists, but there's a lot of diehard fans that do. In fact, our friend at STL Soccer News said, I wish that they would turn on the game during the City game so we could watch and kind of follow both. And I kind of get it. I personally, though, I don't care. Like, I get that the English Premier League is the top in the world. I get that this is a big game, but guess what? Personally, I care about my national team, the St. Louis City, way more. And I don't care how good the EPL is. I don't care how important those games are. I care about this team the most.
Right.
So for me, yes, I think that viewer should have watched this game personally.
Yeah, I do too. If you made a choice and you regret your choice, own it. And that's good. You probably should have been watching this match. Even if we're not the greatest, I have them both on. If you chose to watch a game over this one, that's fine. But like, I think it's fun that they're saying that they regret it. You should. I watched all 90 damn minutes of this match, and it's been almost 2 months without a win, over 2 months. And now here we are. And now we actually had a win. We can actually talk about it. So, yeah.
Well, Steve, I really, really, really hope that the next time we talk after a game, we get to talk about reckless optimism because we scored another 2 or 3 goals and we just kind of blew out our opponent. And hopefully we do amazing. I can't wait. Actually, Steve, I think Andre was kind of pointing out we're basically at the midpoint of the season. We probably need to do an episode reviewing our predictions.
Boy, you want
and
to
the best
talk
part
about,
is yeah.
You want to talk about that reckless optimism? I'm really regretting my damn choices that I said at the beginning of this season.
Oh, yeah. I think we said like 59 points or something at the end of the season, being like third in the table.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know I said, I think we're going to win the West. There's no reason why. And then I remember going back and saying like the first 6 games, there's no way we lose any of those games. Holy crap. Olaf tricked us all, dude. You know what it was? Oh. It was that damn preseason party in Chesterfield we went to where Twellman was hawking the collars like no one else's business, and that really got like that reckless optimism flowing. Like, oh, this team is unbeatable. Like, nope, absolutely not.
Okay, Steve, I got a prediction for you, or actually, you're going to give me your prediction. If we do indeed get a third kit released today or tomorrow, does it have a collar or no?
No.
And that, folks, in fact, on
it's not even going to have
City
an
Showdown.
Outline. It's just gonna be like, hey, what it'll be? It'll be a raincoat. That's how uncollar like it's going to be. It'll just be a poncho. They're like, we're not even having any kind of it'll be a hoodie. No collar, a hoodie. You just stick your head through it. That's what it's gonna be.
If you guys can't tell, I love riling up about this collar. It is so much fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy too. Anyway, Steve.
Let's send it out. All right, guys. We actually get to have a good one. We actually get to have fun. We actually get to stand and this time smile and go, yeah, Offer City!